This podcast is part of the Frederick Podcast Network. Learn more at listenfrederick.com.
Beers in the Lot is partnered with the Hockey Podcast Network.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 162 of Beers in the Lot. Before we get into it, fall weather is approaching. You may need a new t-shirt, maybe a new hoodie. Hop on over to beersinthelot.com/shop. Get all our merch. You'll love it. I guarantee it. Another thing you'll love is joining us in conversation every day of the week in our own Discord. That's beersinthelot.com/Discord. In this episode, we talk about Babcock and also the start of our OFBG season, finally. Jeez, it's been too long. Talk about Short King, Connor Bedard, and Adam Fantilli in their start to their NHL careers at the Rookie Prospects Tournament. And lastly, we're going to get into it and crack some beers. Welcome. No, look at the pores over there on the other side of the screen, Aaron. What are you drinking this evening, Aaron?
We're going to see how this goes. I have from Sierra Nevada, Hazy Little Thing IPA. We'll see how this goes.
Okay.
It's a good little beer.
Haven't had a sip yet. See how it is. But what you got tonight, John?
I have from Trogs the Oktoberfest. Delightful little brouhaha.
Apt.
Yeah. What about you, Riggs? What do you have this evening?
I also have a fest beer since Oktoberfest started officially in Germany this past Saturday.
That's right.
So I have the fest beer from Old Mother, which on the can, we already know they're award winning, right? Because we had Sean Curley, the brewer over there on. This one also won an award last year, a gold for best pale lager or pilsner in Maryland. So he was just racking up medals at last year's competition. This year's competition will be in October, it looks like. So hopefully Old Mother and Sean Curley will be successful again. But we'll see.
Bring home more medals, yeah.
Yeah. What do you have, Daniel?
So tonight I am drinking a milestone beer from Treehouse, batch 6,000.
Wow.
And it is very good.
6,000. That's a lot of batches.
Did you not want to try the other ones, or you're just waiting for that specific one?
I already tried them all.
I mean, we've done, what is this, 162 episode? And he's probably had a Treehouse on 140 of those.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
makes sense.
So Johnny, I noticed that you're not coming to us from a bunker.
Oh yeah.
In the year 2005 tonight.
Yeah. So
We can
I'm
hear
gonna
you quite clearly.
Yes.
Yeah. So I first of all would like to issue a public apology due to my audio quality last week. That was not on the gentleman on the ones and twos or in the editing process. That was firmly on me. I was trying to streamline some of my travel necessities, laptop, microphone, etc., things of that nature. Didn't turn out the way it should have. That's on me. I also blame Tim Cook. I think he's solely responsible, but neither here or there. You know, it's okay. That's a ricochet shot at him. So as a leader, that's on me. I'm not going to blame anyone else besides Tim Cook. On me. I apologize. I'll be better moving forward.
What about Tim Cook?
Well, he's a sack of shit. I mean, it should fucking work. I had the necessary products needed, so they say you can make a podcast. But it sounds like we have, outside of like the first 10 episodes, and yes, we were crawling at that point. We weren't even walking or, jogging or even, run/jog, whatever you want to call it, like we are now. Like we have standards to uphold, like we have certain quality thresholds we try to maintain. I broke that last week. I did that. So That's on me.
Good on you for taking responsibility.
I really appreciate it, John.
I mean, I got a lot of comments publicly and privately, like, "Hey, John,
it
you
says
need
a
to be
lot
better."
about your character.
Yeah, exactly. I needed to be better. I owned it. There are others that would just blame everybody. I mean, I'm not doing that. So, I mean, I'm not saying I didn't go to an Apple store recently and yell at people profusely for no reason, like a crazy person. But, I didn't. I wouldn't do that. That's not me. But, thank God they're going to USB-C finally for whatever. Neither here or there.
That wouldn't have helped you in that situation.
It may have helped. Well, I mean, we don't need to get on the phone topic. I think that's been covered too much in NHL news lately. So I don't.
Oh, well, has it?
Well, I mean, last night started OFBG. I asked everyone on the team, like, I want to see your phones. Let me see them. Like, hand them over now. I mean, so
let's see what kind of person you are.
Everyone obliged. No one had a problem. I mean,
yeah, we were just learning about each other's families and what we did.
Yeah. I mean, I was digging through apps, text messages, old emails, stuff like that. Nothing creepy. I mean, just, trying to get passwords to guys' old MySpace accounts and stuff, whatever.
Just trying to build rapport with the team,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no. So like touching on it, like it's really kind of weird. The one thing that kind of stuck with me a little bit, like, he clearly violated some players didn't have a problem with it, yada yada. The one thing that was interesting, I listen to like TSN Overdrive a lot.
Before you get into this, let's just for those who may not know, I mean, we're not really a news podcast. If you're listening to us, you're not getting your news from us. But we're talking about Mike Babcock.
For the listeners at home.
Yes. We're talking about Mike Babcock who resigned.
From the Columbus Blue Jackets for after NHLPA investigation for allegedly going through his players' phones when the welcome interview sort of things were going on. So that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Anyway, go on, John.
So the one thing that kind of stuck with me, like on some of the coverage, and hockey's starting and it sucks. This is the story that's like sucking up so much oxygen considering they had a rookie tournament where Adam Fantilli of Columbus played spectacular and Connor Bedard did the same thing. So like kind of sucks that that's kind of sucking up oxygen. But on TSN Overdrive, if you listen to the podcast or listen live, Jeff O'Neill kind of just touched on the fact the guys that he had, they were good people outside of the rink and like genuinely did care about their players, but like had to push certain buttons and did it the right way. They weren't doing some weird things. And they kind of said like, a lot of the players don't like Babcock as a person, and like made a really key statement. When he left Toronto, there was a lot of bad stuff and he couldn't even kind of control it or like act in a concerning or caring way towards players. Like literally, and also said, like kind of mentioned, like some of the other guys that either aren't in the game or whatever took time away. They clearly were doing other stuff. Like literally the day that Babcock got his last fucking paycheck from the Leafs, he's like, oh, I'm going to get another job. But now he's never going to get an NHL job or even like a Hockey Canada job or anything moving forward. So whatever. I mean, so not worried about him. I think he's overrated anyway, me personally. But
so for me, it sounded like some of the older veteran players on the team that like had families. He asked about their families or whatever, and asked to see pictures of the families. I think he went after the younger players on the team, and just kind of he wanted to see what they were doing in their off season, right?
Yeah,
is that what I gathered from it?
Yeah, and it could be something he's going to hold over their head later, like, oh, because you were out golfing all the time, maybe training, like, and I don't 100% know, because I don't want everything to kind of come out, but I did see something from like Elliot Friedman or maybe Chris Johnson, one of them. They did say like Babcock essentially did the same thing with like some of the Columbus management. Like what that to me is just strange.
Yeah, that's weird.
Like imagine like Jarmo Kekalainen or John Davidson and Babcock asked, if I was on the other end of that table, I'd go like, eat a dick, get out of my office. Like, what are you doing? I don't know. That's just me. Like, I'm like, I just like that, like, because the way I kind of look at it, like, the organizational chart, that's like me essentially going into my boss's office and going, hey, what have you been up to? Let me see your phone. Like, it's like, what? Like, that wouldn't fly. That wouldn't fly. And even in like my business setting, like no one in the history of my employment, and I'm sure your guys either, has literally been like, oh, show me, like right off the bat, like show me pictures of this. It's more like a conversation about dogs or something. Oh, I got a dog. And then it's more like you, the person, going, oh, let me show you a picture of my dog. You're like, yeah, this is Elwood or, Parker or Cheyenne or Paisley. Like that's how it starts. It's organic. It's not
It's
creepy.
very, very odd in some ways for someone to ask to see pictures of your family. There's a time and place for that, and there's a level of familiarity, a level of acquaintance that it's appropriate, but a boss saying that to essentially a new employee, I don't think that's appropriate. I agree with it. I agree with that for sure.
Yeah.
I think that if you're like a third year on the team and Babcock was your coach the last couple of years, then and you've got rapport with him. Then if he asks to see some photos and maybe you've shown photos before of your own volition, then that seems appropriate. But to ask everybody, like, I was like, okay, this is what we're doing now. You're going to show me photos of what you did. Then that's not appropriate. I agree.
When I think too, like it would have been a little more simple, I guess. Like maybe he's like, hey guys, day one of team meetings, I'd like to go through everyone. If you could throw up like 5 photos about your summer, include family, dogs, interests, etc. Something like that.
Right.
Like
That's
I would have
a little
been
different too.
"Oh, okay,
Yeah.
that's cool." But like I guess the manner in which he was going around doing it was not standard practice.
I think the intent is found in how he may have either asked or directed.
Yeah.
So if he asked as a new coworker, that's awkward and it's weird.
Mm-hmm.
But you could say no, right?
Right.
If he directed as the head coach of the Columbus Blue Jackets, that's a different
story.
thing. That's
Mhm.
a different thing.
Or even
Right.
demanded. Yeah.
So we don't know that. We'll never know that, and I don't think we should. Like as
It's
just,
not our
as
business.
just
Right.
people following the story.
Yeah.
I think probably what happened is in the Players Association investigation, they probably found that some players felt like it was going to be like an attributional thing. If I don't do this, then head coach told me to do it and I'm insubordinate, right? And that's going to come back on me. And they didn't feel comfortable with that more than anything else, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And so that's what ultimately led to him being shown the door, whether it's resignation or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
I think the other thing that came out was that the decision had been made a day or two before the actual announcement. They just had to work out the deal because they still got to pay him some money. So I think it was, how are we going to do this and not give away too much to somebody who didn't even get the season started, like didn't even start training camp. And a lot of this too is his reputation for being a piece of shit.
Yep.
I mean, the shit that he pulled with Marner and the Maple Leafs, the shit that he pulled with young players out in Anaheim, the shit that he pulled with young players in Detroit. Like, these are all known. None of this is secret, and you can go look it up.
Right. It's no surprise.
Right. And so that followed him. And so now, what do I always say? GMs they basically have one hire and one fire of their head coach of choice. So Jarmo Kekalainen,
he's had a few now.
He's had a few.
And from what I have read and know about Columbus, they're they're good organization in terms of how they operate. Like, they try to build. It is a tough market to attract free agents. They got Johnny Hockey last year, so that helps. Now you have a big image problem. The ownership, which traditionally has kind of been like, we're going to hire the right smart people and let them run it, and we'll deal with the business end. They deal with the hockey end. After this decision, now your hockey people have directly impacted your business. Not only just attracting people, but fans are going to be a little sour about this. I'm sure there's players that may even be they talked to me, this year, it's not a good fit this year, but maybe 2 years down the line when my next contract or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But I also think too, two things I gather from the whole announcement, because Pascal Vincent said something too, and I liked it. He said, and I'm paraphrasing a lot of it. Like if you're a good person and you work really hard and do the right things, like good things essentially happen. Part of me feels like he may have, I don't want to say he knew about the Babcock stuff because that's not right. But part of me thinks because he's been in the coaching fraternity, he's almost like 52. Like, so maybe he's known a little bit about how some of like Babcock operates. You know, he's like, this guy's kind of a clown. He always gets jobs. I've been an assistant for 1 billion years. I don't know why.
I'll bet he was in the room.
I'm
when
sure
Babcock was meeting with players, because it was probably like, coaches meeting the players deal.
Yeah.
And maybe even he was uncomfortable with it.
Exactly.
And maybe that is part of that. But I don't think you could read too much into what his statement said. I think his statement was more about his own situation now, where he was going into the season in an assistant's role. And now 2 days before training camp is supposed to start or whatever, he's being told, hey, you're the head coach now. So, you know,
I get a little bit of Jared,
which is a completely different role.
I get a little bit of Jared Bednar vibes though. Like Jared Bednar, when he took over, he was a good coach, like well thought of. He took over a crappy situation when Waugh resigned randomly and without reason, which we've never got an answer on. Bednar's first year sucked. Well, yeah, he's a psychopath. Bednar's first year was like really rough because like he literally got there like same thing almost like a week before camp, had little to no time, yada yada. Now look at Bednar, like awesome, you know, like great coach. Pascal Vincent, I hope he follows the same way. I kind of hope like some of the shit from the Babcock, you know, as it kind of, you know, decants over the next couple of weeks and years, hopefully, like some of the jagoffs in like junior hockey and other levels of pro hockey, like the younger players clearly were the ones, at least from the report, that were very uncomfortable. Some more younger players, like now, hopefully they feel more like they're their own advocates. Like there's a coach that's really being a sack of shit. Like, and like I said, you have to differentiate some of the like, hey, you got to work hard. You got to do the right things on and off the ice to get playing time, etc. Like that's not a jerk coach. That's a coach trying to do, you know, get the most out of what's needed to perform at that level and be successful at that level. But if you're doing like, you know, kind of creepy stuff or like even just being a jerk, you know, players scratching up for no reason, miss promises of stuff. And that happens like in all levels of hockey, minor up to pro, I'm sure. So like, I hope some of more of those guys as younger guys come and become more advocates for themselves a little bit. Like they call that shit out and they should. Like, it's not right. I mean, especially when you're a young kid, like stepping into a junior or, you know, high level youth or college or pro level, like, you know, those coaches wield way more power than anyone probably realizes because you get healthy scratched a bunch. You never play for whatever reason because the coach just doesn't like you. Like that ruins your career, your money making potential and whatever. Yeah, enough on that shit. Screw him.
Yep. I agree.
Screw him.
Hang on a sec. We need to hear from our sponsors.
It's another week of football, and DraftKings Sportsbook is keeping us in on the NFL action with great offers every single game day. New customers can bet $5 and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Throw 5 down on any of this week's epic matchups to walk away an instant winner. And DraftKings isn't stopping there. All customers can take advantage of 2 new offers every game day this September. Football's more fun when you're in on the action, so download the app now and sign up with code THPN. New customers can bet just $5 to get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL with code THPN. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That's 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas, licensee partner Golden Nugget, Lake Charles, Louisiana. 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction, void in Ontario. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms for eligibility, terms, and responsible gambling resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply.
We started our season though. That's tight.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. It's nice.
Opening tilts for the
Yeah, Danny, tell us how your game went.
the campaign.
I'm curious how
I
your
got my
campaign
cookies.
started off. Selfish. That's selfish. Man.
That's the only
That's-
thing of note in our game.
Well, field reporter Ross got assaulted. That's what I heard. That's what I heard.
It was a no-touch assault.
Phantom assault.
Yeah, Phantom song.
I like the way he described it though. He was going into the corner for the puck, and then the defenseman, he didn't even make a move. He did the no move, and Ross said that no move broke his ankles, and he went head over heels into the boards.
Oh,
He's gonna say we're drone striking him right now, I'm sure, but like,
No, that's how he described the situation.
it is, yeah. And then
what happened today? What did you send to him?
Oh,
what
I
video
did.
you sent to him?
I sent him like the coffin dance thing with all of us. Yeah. So I got access recently to an app. I've been making videos galore. It's like,
We know.
I'm trying to think, like Ozymandias from Watchmen, when he gets that Dr. Manhattan machine, like it's just too much power for one man. That's me. Like that's how I feel, total power god just going on a trip. But drunk with power from my newfound app. And then Riggs, what happened in our game? The three of us are on a team this season.
Yep. It's me, John, and Riggs. All on the
I don't
same
know.
team.
There was one player that scored 5 goals
Yeah.
against us, and then the rest of that team had 1 goal, and then we had 4.
Yep.
So,
Hey, you know what? I didn't realize Justin scored 5 against us.
Yeah, he did.
So it was the same thing.
One player on their team scored
One
5
player
against
scored
you guys?
5.
Yeah, but
Man.
they also had another 4 goals, didn't they?
No, it was 3.
All right, fine.
So we basically
It was 3,
tied.
yeah.
It's fine.
Take out that one player's goals
Yeah.
and yeah.
It was kind of weird. Even after skating pickup, I was talking to somebody else. I'm like, I felt like we didn't have any flow. I don't know. It just felt like a weird
It's
opening
yeah.
the
night.
first game,
I had a great time though. It was nice to, talk shit with my bros again. I enjoyed
Hell
it
yeah.
thoroughly.
Been missing it. That's for sure.
I don't know if I miss it.
It's always a good time.
My sleep schedule didn't miss it.
yeah.
Like
Yeah, that's true. But the lot was good last night.
return
lot
of
was
garbage
good.
Monday mornings. Yeah.
Yeah, true.
I totally steal my Mondays and borrow them on Sundays, like without a doubt. Like I just, but yeah, it was
Good
nice
way
because the
back.
weather's decent. Wait till the
Yeah, I was
wind and the
worried.
cold picks up. It'll
we
suck.
were driving in and it was raining basically the whole way in, and then we got to the rink and I was like, it's gonna be all rainy and shit after we're done. But it was cleared up, no rain out in the lot, so had a few pops and enjoyed ourselves in the lot. That was good stuff.
Yeah, being naughty boys.
That's the part I missed. Really, that's the part that I missed the most. It was good times, good stuff, good laughs. Can't go wrong.
Yeah, a bunch of ha-has and hee-hees.
I laughed quite a few times.
There was some times. Times were had by all. There was some other NHL news. What else? What was the other thing that happened?
Connor Bedard's looking sick.
And
yeah, Bedard
Fantilli.
does look sick.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't actually see the
rookies
clips
are
of
gonna be fun.
Fantilli, but like you said, he scored a hat trick in his prospect game, which that's impressive.
And he was just skating through defenders like they were nothing. Like, it was
You saw
ridiculous.
his clips then?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I saw both.
Who looks better?
So
Or did just both look amazing?
Fantilli had 7 points in 2 games. Bedard had the 3 goals, and I think he got an apple. But
Fantilli's a year older than him, though, isn't he? Isn't Fantilli older?
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
older,
by 1 year because he went
but-
NCAA.
but playing experience, I think they're
Pretty
like,
similar, yeah.
because Bedard went major junior early. He went
Yeah.
as a
Yeah.
15-year-old.
Yep.
Fantilli played 3 years that I don't remember, but I think from an experience standpoint, like that, it kind of washes out.
Yeah.
I said it last night. Like I think Fantilli is a more complete NHL rookie player. And I think I would give him the edge for the Calder, having not seen them play one NHL, like real NHL game. Like these prospects in rookie tournaments are basically just glorified youth hockey.
Right.
Yeah, you
It's like
gotta
it's
take. Well, it's not just that. It's like you gotta take the all those rookie tournaments. I mean, they're great watching it. I watched like they don't televise it, but you can find like a lot of the highlights of chunks. So like it's kind of like those kids playing. I wouldn't even call it World Juniors. It'd be like their standard WHL games or like NCAA games. Like there are players that are probably close to them or right about them, and then there are other kids that aren't their level. So hence why they put up a lot of points. And also like
Right.
not in a bad way for the goalies. Like those goalies generally take like another 2 to 3 years to kind of develop down the road before they are even at AHL or NHL ready, just because how tough the position is. So like, not saying those guys are going to snipe, NHL goalies, but like some of those shots in the distance, that's not going in on Vasilevsky or like Shesterkin. It's not. Sorry. It's just the way, those guys are smarter, obviously. But we'll see what happens.
One thing I noticed with Bedard, they were doing the shots for all the promos for the NHL.
Yeah.
And they had him like standing next to Crosby. And Crosby's not a huge guy. He looked massive next to Bedard.
Yeah, he's a
Like
short king.
Yeah.
He's tight.
Do you think that's going to play into anything like next season? You think he's going to be like, oh shit, like these guys are massive?
Yeah, because he plays all his games out west. That may be a problem when he's going against the heavier teams.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, he can skate really well, and everything I've seen on Bedard too. Like one thing
he's fast. Yeah.
He's fast. He can move. He has really good hands and a good shot. The one thing I really noticed about him in the offensive zone, not saying that all players don't do this, but a good chunk of the elite ones do. Regardless of where he's skating, he never has his head away from the puck. Wherever his body is doing skating wise, his head is constantly on the puck. Backwards, forwards, side to side, laterally. Like he's in a position looking for it, knowing that I'm either going to get it or I'm going to go get it. That's something you can't really teach. Like he just has it. It's cool to watch, especially some of the highlights. You watch his head, like how it's kind of tracking it. Cool. So we'll see. I mean, we were kind of talking about this night. Like, I don't know how Corey Perry is going to do. I mean, Corey Perry did have 51 stuff, but still, like, I don't.
It's gonna be
Chicago
tough.
sucks too.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough for Bedard on that team. You'll have Taylor Hall, but
I think Taylor Hall could be a good mentor too. Like he's a
Yeah.
guy who's had an interesting NHL career where, injuries I think kind of hampered him. And also I hate saying it, but Chicago's kind of in this point. Like he was with an organization that has a track record of really poor player development,
Yeah.
So
He can kind of show Bedard like, hey, this is what this is
how to get better despite our organization.
Yeah. This is how you can like come in as a number one and find a career without a lot of support from a team.
Yeah. And also too, probably hook him up with some of the, it looks like Connor's like, well on his way and whatnot with some of the guys he's either been around with like some of the media tours and stuff, and he did the BioSteel camp, but like, that'll be good kind of like as he progresses, like what he's definitely going. I mean, you can't fix size. I hate saying it. I'm in the same boat, Connor, and I turned out fine. It's okay. But like, like you got to, so he needs to improve. I mean, he's a really good skater and a really good stick handler and shooter. So how do you make those even more, strengths for you? But obviously he's going to have to really be keen on his body position because, like I think of like a big defenseman, like a Victor Hedman, like how or like a, Petrangelo and, even like a Darnell Nurse, like guys he's going to be seeing almost night in, night out, like those guys with their longer reach and stuff. So you have to do some different things in tight going to the net and whatnot. So we'll see. It'll be interesting to see both of them play. It'll be good. I like both players. It's going to be cool.
I'm excited to see the highlights that'll come out of these kids.
Aaron, your boy Trevor Zegras may be holding out, by the way. We'll see.
Is he? Really? I hadn't heard this.
Because he has his RFA deal up. He's eligible to be signed. He may hold out. We'll see what happens. I don't know. Troy Terry got paid, but he didn't get paid yet. I don't know. He's going to take a playbook out of an NFL player, I guess.
Pays this man his money.
Yeah.
Right?
More players could do that.
My wife sent me a reel out of nowhere of Trevor Zegras and asked me, is this hard? And I'm like, this is magic. The things that guy can do are magic. Because I don't know. I mean, we see NHL players, screwing around with the puck when they're warming up or whatever. But Zegras does that crazy thing where he puts it up on the blade and then rolls it into his skates.
Yeah, the Zorro.
It's magic.
Yeah.
I don't know how to begin to practice those sorts of
Aaron,
things.
did you send your old lady right after that? I'm like, hey babe, this is the championship winning goal from the 2022 OFBG summer tournament. This also is magic.
Yeah, this is more impressive.
Yeah. Hey babe, you want to see a guy who's won something in his life? Yeah. You sent that?
Okay, that'll do it for this one, guys. Thanks for listening. We appreciate every listen we get. Make sure to tune in again next week. We drop new episodes on Wednesday at noon. So until then, have a good one. We'll see you later.